Good morning, everyone again. This is Jairam. I am OCI Solution Specialist, DWH and Analytics. So today, our focus would be to show you a demo of data analytics. Okay, and you can try along with us as well. And the focus again would be on the machine learning and AI part of data and analytics. Right now, let's get started with a very short video just to get warmed you up, and then we all will start enjoying this session. Okay, the agenda for today, we're essentially going to focus on 3 exercises. Okay, the first would be around generating auto insights in advanced analytics, right? Using sample sales data, right? And next, in the second try, we'll try to create a machine learning model within Oracle Analytics Cloud using a low code approach, and then apply it on a new data set. And then lastly, we will see how the OCI AI services are integrated with Oracle Analytics Cloud to drive even more advanced insights, right? Now, in our first try, I will just give a very high level overview of what we are trying to achieve. Oracle Analytics Cloud, okay, as you can see, supports the entire 9 yards of analytics, right from connecting to the data till collaboration. You experience machine learning, AI, and augmented capabilities, during the entire process. But for this session, we'll mostly be focusing on self-service machine learning, advanced user machine learning. How do we do that? And also machine learning insights, which could be generated by just a few clicks, right? So that's what we would be focusing on. Now, let's try our very first use case. Now, before we start, if someone wants to try along with us, okay, we have panelists who are more than happy to share you the links. Okay, please go to the Q&A section of Zoom and ask for a link. Basically, you will get a URL which is actually set up to try out the demo that I'm going to show you, right? So if anyone is interested, please feel free to actually go ahead and then ask for a link. And let's give ourselves a few seconds so that we'll get your link, and we'll then start with the actual demo. Right? This is how the landing page would look like for you. And in case you just want to enjoy the demo and do not want to try out yourself right now, no problem at all. The entire session will be recorded, and then you can always try out by reaching out to us at a later stage, right? So no problem. You can just follow along with us. Now, for this very first exercise, as we said, the idea is to look at auto insights and then apply advanced analytics on top of auto insights. So for that purpose, we are going to use sample order lines data. Okay, basically this is a sales data, right? Okay, this is my home screen, and before I actually start using it, I will just take a few seconds to warm you up with how the home screen looks like. The very first thing that you would see is we have a Google-like search where anything and everything that you would like to search, in terms of workbooks, data, machine learning models, can all be searched in the search button itself, right? On the right-hand side, whenever you want to create a new project or a workbook, a data flow data set, those things would be available with you. And we also support whole lot of connections, right? It could be Oracle, non-Oracle, cloud, on-premise. So we do support multiple connections here, right? And on the left-hand side, there are multiple menu options available, right? From the workbook catalogs, the data sets, that we are going to use and save, machine learning models to understand the quality and any jobs that you may have to run, right? So this is how the screen would look like for you. Now, to start with, the very first exercise, the very first step of the first exercise, what I would like to do is look for sample order lines, okay, that you would see on your home page if you are trying with me. If you are not trying with me, just enjoy the session. So just click, just do a right click to keep it simple, and then do a duplicate, right? Now, the reason why we are doing a duplicate and not directly using it is the dataset is uploaded by the admin. And to have full control on the dataset, okay, we are creating a copy which makes you as the owner of the dataset, right? So once you do that, right, you will be able to see a copy of it, which is basically sample order lines hyphen copy. Just click on it, right? The moment you click on it, you are now entering the workbook development screen. On the left-hand side, you see all the columns in the data set, right? Then there's a tab that says data. And in the next tab, you will see various different charts that you could use to create your insights and dashboards. And the third part would be all the advanced one-click analytics that you could try, right? Now, let's go back to this data, right? So traditionally, you would want to approach like a drag and drop, create charts and move along. But now we want to do it the AI way, right? The way to do it is on the right-hand side, you would have seen a bulb, okay, which has actually generated a whole lot of insights for you, right? Without you having to write a single line of code or a drag and drop a single set of data, the system has been able to understand what are some of the most important data sets. It is able to correlate the data, find patterns, and create these insightful charts for you, right? And if you want to know what all fields are being included, you can just click on here and it will tell you basically two measures. There's a time attribute, small sized attributes, large, all these are being used, right? So these are the different attributes or the metrics that are present in the data set. The system automatically understands what to use and how to generate the relevant insights, right? Now, among this, what I would like to do, I would request you to just tag along with me and try this out. So as a very first step, right, you select the trending dimensions, okay? You just hover on it, you will see a plus button and add it into the main screen. Just click on plus. The moment you do, you will see your very first chart coming up. So the next thing I would like to do here is just keep scrolling down and you should be able to see what we call as a growth contribution bridge, right? So this is a waterfall chart. Okay, it looks interesting to me. I would like to see, the profit and how it is being contributed by different entities. So I would like to select that, right? And when I keep scrolling down, okay, while these are all deterministic analytical data, as I keep scrolling down, I see something very interesting, right? I see that I can see the forecast of sales, right? This is interesting. There is some forecast, some predictive model already available. I would like to see what it says. I'm going to add this, right? So far I have added 3 charts. Let's add a few more. Then I will further scroll down. And there's a clustering model also available in terms of cities and how they're contributing to the profit value. I'm interested to see how these clusters are being formed. I'm going to add that, right? Then I will see if I can find out anything interesting. Okay. So what I'm doing here is, okay, I am actually, letting the system help me to create my analysis without having to worry about what analysis I need to create, right? So the next very interesting thing I'm able to see is my top 10 cities by sales. Okay. I would like to know where I'm selling well. So I'm adding it into the canvas. So we call the larger area the canvas. And let me see if I can find anything else interesting, right? So there are multiple things that are happening here. I can either stop, okay, or I can pick up something interesting. So I can even see a Pareto chart. If I would like, I can add. Or in this case, what I'm going to do is I want to have a tabular view as well of my data. I am just interested in the numbers. I will add that as well, right? The moment I do, I'm good with the first set of analysis I wanted to start with. I will close this window so that I will see all the charts, okay, in my very first canvas. So here, the next thing I'm interested to do is to interact with the analysis that has been created. So as a very first step, okay, what I'm going to do is convert this chart itself into a filter, right? The system actually is intelligent enough to, allow you to interact within the charts and then use that as a filter. So I'm just selecting the filter option here. It gets highlighted. And once I do that, I can select individual boxes and see how that gets applied on the rest of the charts, right? So let's say I'm interested in small business. I click on the small business and you will see that the entire information, okay, is now focused on small business, right? So it says, if you see, automatically the filters got added. So I clicked on computer and electronics and the subcategory and the segment being small business, and the entire data is now focused around small business, right? So this way, I have created a set of auto insights, and then I have could even interact, with this data. The next thing I would like to do is to select these clusters of city. Okay, the system has created a bunch of clusters. Now I would like to know, how these clusters came along, and is there a way that I can codify this, right, without I having to write any code. So for this purpose, I'm going to select the advanced analytics option, okay, by clicking on the third tab, which is an arrow mark. And what I will do here is I have this cluster option. I will drag and drop the clusters into the shape area, right? So I can just drag and drop it here, right? The moment I do that, the system would take a few seconds, and then it has actually started giving me clusters, right? So if you see, this is a cluster, the triangle, then there's a plus, then there are squares. All these are different clusters. And how did they come along? So I have actually used a k-means algorithm, and there are 5 groups. So if you want to reduce the group, you could go ahead and try out, let's say 3 or 6. Okay, for the time being, let's stick to 5. Now, in addition to that, I have 2 more advanced analytics options that have automatically been added. Those are my reference lines. Now, what are these? If I want to tell you, just okay, delete one of them here. Okay, I'm just removing this reference for now. So you see that there's a sales, and then there's a profit value, and there's a reference for average here. Okay, if I just expand this, right? So I am looking at sales, right, which is my the x-axis, and I am actually having a line which actually with an average function, right? So how do I do that? Again, I just have to say add a reference line, and then that would come up. So just to show you how it works, I will remove this as well. Okay, so this is my cluster. So I just want to bring my reference line and add it here, right? The moment I do, I'm able to see what is my average sales, okay, with respect to the data I have, and it comes as a line function. So average, I am making around $5,500 of sales, right? So similarly, if you want to try it out for profit, you could do that as well, right? So this is how the reference line works. The next thing, okay, continuing to be in the same clusters, right? If I change it to the grammar tab, okay, currently I'm in the properties tab. In the second part of the screen, I'm changing it to the grammar tab, and I see there is something called clusters that has been added, which is actually helping me to create this. And we saw that it was a k-means cluster. I would like to have it as a a calculation available for any future use. All I need to do it here is I just right click and then say add to my calculations. The moment I do that, I need to go to my data tab and I will see the clusters I've just added. Okay, I can just right click and I can say edit calculation. And if you see, this is the algorithm on the calculation that was added by the system, where we are looking at city with sales and profit, and then we have created a k-means algorithm with 5 clusters, right? This is how you can actually, use the clusters, and with this, okay, you, if required, you could use this calculation for any other combination as well, right? So for now, let's just leave it at this. The next interesting observation, again, advanced analytics option that you see here is this forecast, right? When I expand this to have a better view, so up to around October, I see a trend line, and then post that I see a grade line, which actually is basically telling me the forecast, right? For my next 3 periods, it is telling me, if I just hover on each of the points, I see on top a tooltip that tells me what is the forecasted value, and it is kind of giving me an upper and a lower bound as well, right? Which essentially is telling me that my sales would vary between let's say $19,000 to $110,000, right? So that's a variable. And how did I arrive at this? I just go back to the properties, right? And then click on the advanced analytics option here. So there's a seasonal ARIMA. Typically, sales are seasonal in nature, and then an ARIMA model has been applied for the next 3 periods, right? So in this exercise, what we just saw is basically to use auto insights to create my first set of analysis, then use the filter option within my canvas to apply the filter and look for updating the canvas information, so that I am focused on a specific subcategory and customer segment. And then also we looked at how clusters are created and how forecast could be done with just a single click, right? So this was our first try. And before we move ahead, just to ensure that your work is intact, let us just very quickly save this. So I click on save. I can just say auto insights, okay, try. So I can say, okay, if I want to save it for myself, I can put it under my folder. If I want to share it with others, I can put it in the shared folder. So let me stick to my folder for now, and I'm going to save it. Okay, so this was our first try, auto insights plus advanced analytics. Now let's move on. So the next try that we'll do is to create and train a machine learning model and apply it on a new data set. So before we actually start that, just a overview of what Oracle Analytics Cloud offers in terms of machine learning, that is out of the box. You could do numerical predictions, and there are multiple options available like elastic neck linear regression, simple linear regression, random forest chart. You could do multi-classification, okay, using SVM, neural network, random forest, naive Bayes theorems or algorithms. Could do clustering. We just saw a k-means clustering, right, by just dragging and dropping, but you could even actually write your own clustering algorithm by just dragging and dropping a model in the data flow, which we are going to see in a moment. And then you could also do a binary classification like an yes or a no, okay. For example, whether a particular employee is going to stay or going to leave the company, right? So that kind of binary classification could also be done, and there are a whole lot of algorithms that would support you to do the same, right? So this is how the out of the box machine learning could be done, okay, with almost zero code, right? Now for this exercise, we are going to take one example, that is numeric prediction, right? And then we'll use a linear regression model. And the data set that we are going to use is a bike rental prediction. The use case here is that, I am running a bike rental company, and then I would like to know where all I need to place the right number of bikes, in a route, so that, I am actually supplying to the demand optimally, right? So first I will train the model based on historic data, and then I will use a new data set to actually use it for prediction. Okay, let's now do the second try. I'm going back to OAC again. Let me just go back. I come back to my home screen. So now what we'll do, we'll click on the navigator on the left hand side and then go to the data tab, right? So depending upon which tab are you in within data, you may see some or no data at all. So ideally you should be on the data sets tab. And here I can see two data sets, one for training and one for prediction, that is bike renting training and bike renting prediction. So I right click on it and then I would like to create a duplicate, right? So I have created a duplicate and as I said, the data sets are created by the admin. To ensure that you have full access, I am just creating a copy. Now here we'll now use the OAC data flow capability to create the machine learning model. So I go to create, I go to the data flow, right? And here I will select my bike renting training copy, right? This is the data set I will use. I will add it to the flow. And as you can see on the left hand side, I can perform data transformations, or I can use the same screen for applying machine learning models. So in this case, my focus is to do a prediction. So what will I be predicting? So I have data for various different route or points where the bikes are placed, different seasons, year, right, weekday, working day, that kind of information, along with temperature, humidity, wind speed, and also the count of bikes that were present in each of these locations. Okay, this is my historic data. I would like to create a predictive model to predict the count of bikes I need to have, right? So I will just click on this plus button. And then I want to do a numeric prediction. So I click on this and then I select linear regression for model training. So currently I'm training the model. I select this option. I say okay. Now, if you see, right, all that I need to do is tell this model which is my target column. Okay, what is the column I need to predict, right? So as you know, we need to predict for the count of the bikes. I select this, right? And if you just scroll down, you have a lot of hyperparameters that are defaulted for you. You don't have to change anything. If anything, if you feel there is, there are some numeric values which are in different scales, okay, something in decimal, something in thousands, right? You just could standardize by saying that you want to set it to true, right? So that all the numbers are standardized in that way. Next thing that you would do is to save this model within OIC so that you can apply on a new data set. So I will just name this as bike predict. And I just want to keep it simple. You can give any name of your choice. I'll just keep it copied so that currently I am actually creating the model. And for creation of this model, I want to run a data flow for this. So I click on run data flow. And what it does, it is actually telling me, would you like to give a name? I'll just say bike predict underscore data flow and then say okay. So what it does, it first saves the data flow and then runs it, right? So I click okay. Now, what system is doing? So it is actually, running the bike predict model in the backend, and it's also suggesting that the rest of the features would be available for use. Now the model has run. Okay, I have my model. Now, what I will do is, okay, while I'll come to the quality of the model in a while, let me apply this training model on a new data set, okay, which is my predict data set, and see how the numbers look like, right? So I will go back, okay, and here I have this bike renting predict, okay. I would like to just right click and then duplicate, right? The idea is again, to have full control. So I have this bike renting predict copy. So once I have the duplicate, right, I just click on this data set. The moment I do, I have my copy available. Now, how do you apply the machine learning model that you just created? Just click on this plus button that you see just on the right side of search, and then it allows you to create a scenario. So here scenario refers to applying the predictive model. click on create scenario, and then the model that you just created, that is the bike predict model, is available. The target is count. You've just created it now. Select this. It also tells you it's an Oracle Analytics model. Select this and say OK. Now, within a few seconds, you see that the predictive model has been applied to, is used to count, or you use to predict the count. So in this data set, if you observe closely, there is no count, and that is what we have just predicted. So once you have it, now you could try any combination to see the prediction. So for the time being, let's say I want to see the in which area, that is in which point, and in which point, and let's say I would like to say on holidays, how many count of breaks I need to have. So if I want to do multi-select, I'm hitting my control button on my keyboard and selecting the options. So I'll say count prediction, okay, which is my predicted count. I right click, and here is where either I can go with the best visualization available, where the system itself decides what is the best visualization, or I can go with my pick visualization, which gives me option to select the right visualization. So what I'm going to do, I do a pick visualization because I want to have control of what I would like to do, and I can just go with a simple table here, right? While there are multiple options, just to look at the predictions, I'll go with a simple prediction, right? So, and here I just want to filter the data only for holidays, right? I'm interested in the holiday season. So what do I do here? I just select outside so that the selections disappear, and I select this holiday option into the filter. Okay, this is where I'm adding the filter. Let me show it again. So this is the place, if you want to have filters on your canvas, you could do that, right? So I drag and drop holiday into the filter section, and I am only interested in holiday season, so I say yes. Right, the moment I do that, during the holiday season, in these particular points where the bikes get picked up, this should be my approximate number of bikes, right? So like the last time, you can actually have multiple charts, analysis done, all that, but for the time being, let's stick to prediction. And again, like last time, let's save this for further use. I'm going to save this. I'm going to say bike predict try. Okay, and then I'm going to save it into my folder. Now, one thing I have not shown you yet is, while we have applied this model, I would like to know how good was this model, right? I'm interested in the quality. I don't want to apply a low quality model where the predictions are not very accurate. So how do I find it out how good my model is? I go back, right? And then, from my navigator, I go to machine learning. And in this is my bike predict model I have created. And on the right hand side, I can see a kebab menu. And then I say inspect. When I inspect, among other things, I'm interested in the quality of the model. I click on quality, and I see a lot of numerical prediction model quality parameters, including MAE, mean squared error, root mean squared error, coefficient of determination. So if you see here very closely, so my coefficient of determination, which is one of the key parameters of quality, is pretty good, about 80%. And even the root squared error and root relative absolute error are on the lower side. So I am fairly confident that it's a pretty good model because the model quality parameters are pretty good, right? So this is how you can actually, right, pick up the data that you need to train for a machine learning model, apply a machine learning model for training the data. And once you have that model available on the trained data, you can use a new data set on which you need to do the prediction, and then say add scenario, and then the model will be, or the prediction will be available for your use. And you can always come back to this screen and check for the quality, right? And if you want to improve the quality, maybe tweak some parameters, you may want to try the same model a few times so that you get the required accuracy in the model. So this was our second try, right? Hope the session has been interesting so far. If there are any questions, right, please, okay, post it on the Q&A and somebody will definitely answer. And if someone joined a bit late and want to give a try to the last exercise, again, please ask for a URL and someone will help you get a URL, right? Now, moving on. So we just concluded the second try. Let's move to the third one. So in this, we are going to use an integrated AI service to actually use that service to apply on a data set within Oracle Analytics Cloud, and then take it ahead and see how the outcome looks like. So if you want to look at how AI services are integrated and what kind of advanced integrations are available or collaborative capabilities are available, on the left hand side you see you can hand code your data science models on a Python Jupyter IDE and then bring it onto Oracle Analytics Cloud. In terms of the AI services itself, we are already integrated with AI Vision service. You could do image detection, image text detection, image classification, object detection. You could do language model where you could do sentiment analysis, text classification, named entity recognition kind of advanced use cases. And if you have data in your Oracle database or an autonomous database, you could even have in-database analytics. This is outside the scope today, but if you have the data, you can run advanced machine learning models on your in-database data, and you could even do graph analytics when the data is in your Oracle database, right? So the amount of machine learning and AI that could be driven with Oracle Analytics Cloud is just amazing, right? And then for this exercise, we'll focus on AI language to start with, and then probably I will give a glimpse of how even vision services are integrated. So let's go to try 3, right? Just a moment, let me go back. Okay, we are back in the OSC screen. Let's come back to the home page. Now, for this purpose, we'll start with the AI language model, and the use case here is, there are a lot of people who have stayed in multiple hotels across US, and then they have shared their feedback about their hotel stay, right? So we are going to do a sentiment analysis of their feedback with respect to their hotel stay. So you should be able to see a hotel reviews data set in the bottom part of the screen. In case if you are unable to locate it, use the search function to just type hotel, okay, and then you should be able to get this, right? And then like last time, the request is to create a duplicate by right clicking, okay, and then use this in your data flow to see the sentiment. So let's do that. I will just close this search. Now, just before we do the data flow, I would like to take your attention to this menu option where you can bring machine learning models from the database, as I just showed you. You could write your own custom script and then wrap it as OCA function and use it in Oracle Analytics Cloud. And you could even bring our AI service language models or vision models into the mix, right? So now we are going to try out the language model. It is already made available in the instance. So we are not going to integrate right now. So it's already available. Let's use that. So for this purpose, what we are going to do, we are going to create another data flow. And we are going to use the hotel reviews copy. Select this, click add, right? Now, so once you have added this, you see the hotel names, hotel addresses, the review IDs, okay, the individual reviews, and you can even get some of the locations where the hotel was situated. And this is where I'm focused on, right? I'm interested in the review text and I would like to apply a sentiment analysis on top of it, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click the plus again, like the last time we did. And this time, instead of using a OAC model, I'm going to use an AI model, right? I click on this and I get all my pre-trained models of both vision and language available here. And for this purpose, I'm going to use the sentiment analysis, right? I see, select this, I click OK, right? And then what I'm going to do in this case, okay, let me show you what will be the output. So I will get what was the analysis, what is the text that was used, to the analysis part. These are all my output columns. I will get a sentiment, whether it was a positive or a negative sentiment, and for each of that, I will get a positive, negative, and mixed score, and any summary if it is present. So like last time, all we need to do is to identify the column on which I need to run my sentiment analysis. In this case, it is the review text. I select this, I select my review text here, okay, and I can do an aspect level analysis or a sentence level or both. For this purpose, I'm going to go with aspect level. Aspect is on what aspect you want to do a sentiment, whether it is like the breakfast, the rooms, the overall ambience. Those are some of the aspects that the system will automatically intelligently able to derive out of the review text and then give a sentiment for that particular aspect. And then I just want to ensure that I am actually using a reference column, which is basically my the review ID here, because that is my primary key. I select this, and I can just leave the other two empty. Now I need to save this model onto a data set, because I would like to see the output in a data set. So what I'm going to do, I click on plus and then say save data. So this data will be within OSC itself. So I just select, let's say, hotel sentiment. That's what I type, and then select this. While I was typing, you see that the model has already been applied on different sentiments, and there is a positive, negative, and even the scores are available. So this is what we are going to analyze, right? So I'm selecting the hotel sentiment data set. I want to run it as a data flow. I go back here and I will change this to hotel sentiment underscore data flow, and then say OK. Now it will take a few seconds because an advanced analysis is happening in the backend. Sentiment analysis, deep learning model like language model is being applied on the review text, and from each of the text, the aspects are getting extracted, and then the entire model is being applied, and the flow is getting committed into the system. So what you see is just a peek or a sneak peek into what's going to come out as an output. Just give yourself a few minutes. It takes not more than 1 to 2 minutes to run, okay, and you should be able to get the language model shortly. So if you have any questions so far, and you would like to ask, please feel free to post those questions in the Zoom Q&A. We have subject matter experts who are more than happy to take your questions and answer them. So while this is running, let me check if there are anything that I need to look at from a Q&A standpoint. Okay, let me just go back to the screen. It just takes a few seconds because the model is fairly advanced and it has to run. Just give yourself a few seconds. It should run. So please post your Q&A. I can see a question being asked. Okay, Srinivas. In training data sets, selection of features also plays an important role. Does the OCML have the capability to warn or suggest that the training set itself is not so appropriate? Okay, a very good question. I think you will. So I will let our panelists give an answer. So how can we get permanent access of this portal? Very interesting question, Ibrahim. So probably I'll let the organizers reach out to you and then work out how this can be made available. And just to let you know, this particular system would be available for around 24 hours for you to try out. Okay, so till tomorrow same time, you should be able to access the system, try out a few things. Okay, and be able to get to the other things that you would like to learn. And there are a whole bunch of questions, and it's taking a bit long. So while it is running, okay, let me just show you something very interesting. So we have what we call as a data visualization library, okay, where a lot of examples are available for you to use, okay. And one of the very interesting example that is available for you to check is the AI vision service example, right? You could either click on see it live or just click on read me, okay. And once you click on read me, right, so it kind of helps you or gives you a walkthrough of how to set it up in your instance, okay, and then use the available data to run a vision service integrated model on Oracle Analytics Cloud, right? So you could try this out, right? And then you will, these are some of the dashboards that you will see, okay. And the link I think has been shared with you. So basically, you just have to look for Oracle Analytics Cloud examples and you will be directed to the screen. And in addition to the vision, how do you run different custom scripts, then the bike rental prediction that we just tried. If you want to understand more, it's available for you to try along with a YouTube video how it was done. And there are a lot of other examples as well, which includes machine learning and other capabilities, which you should definitely try. Let me see if the model is ready. Yeah, thankfully it's done. I'm almost on the close. So what I would do here is, now that I have the data set, all I need to do is go to the data set. I have the hotel sentiment. I select this, right? And then in this case, I just have the sentiment. If I want to understand on which hotel what was the sentiment, or all I will do is I will click on this plus button and I would like to bring the hotel data set here. So I will say add data, and then I can actually bring the data set here, which is basically my hotel reviews copy. I will add this to the workbook. Now, if by default it is not getting joined, what I can do is I can come here. Okay, I can go to the data tab. I can go to the hotel sentiments here. I'll just make one small change. Okay, in the next minute or so, I'll just make a small change here. Okay, the data opens up. So I will just, in the last column, in the review ID, which is numeric, I will make it as an attribute so that I'm able to join, right? And once I do that, I save this and I come back here to this model. And then when I hover, it allows me to join, right? So what I do here, I come here, I will say add another match. I will say give me the review ID and just join it with this review ID of my hotel sentiment output. I say okay. And then within a few seconds, you should be able to see how the two data sets are now joined. What I can do, I can just simply pick up a hotel name, and then I can have the sentiment on it. Okay, and then let's say I just want to look at it as a table. I just use this table here, right? I have the table. The next thing, to further have more rich visualization, what I can do is I can select the latitude and longitude, okay, and then I can select a mixed score and let the system give me the best visual for this. I will say create best visualization, and then in a few seconds you will see a map visualization which gives me the scores, and I can actually select, I can convert this into a filter and see, for example, I have this 20 as a mixed score. I can look at what is this hotel, and it is with respect to the vacation Bex Victorville, right? So this way I can perform advanced analysis based on the sentiment. And if I want to further explore, let's say what are some of the highly negative comments with respect to any, any aspect, I can just do one more thing here. Okay, so I can just select, let's say, the sentiment text. Okay, and then I can create a new, word cloud. Okay, I will just say pick visualization and word cloud. And while it is getting created, I will pick up, there are a lot of words here. So I will pick up the negative score, add it as a filter, and then I will give a top 10 for this, right? So I have these are my top 10 aspects for which I got my negative score. I can come, I can look at all the data. I can again convert this into filter. And if I'm specifically looking at what are all the places where breakfast was not good, select this, and the entire data is now focused on those hotels where the breakfast was not so good. So this way you could use the AI services available to actually perform advanced analytics. Okay, I'm slightly old time, so let me just speed it up a bit. Okay, so coming back, we finished the try 3. Now, finally, now I would like to close by saying some of the competition, the starting price is around $230 or even 200 is the lowest in the competition. But what we offer for you to start is as small as just $160 a month, right? You could get all these capabilities at just $160 a month. And please reach out to us. There are a whole lot of links that are made available by the panelists to you, and even this recording would be available for later consumption. Okay, please feel free to use them. A lot of very rich content is available. And thank you, thanks a lot for your time. Thank you, till we meet next time.